So the last part of the introduction that I want to discuss is the part that goes right in the middle, and it's called the link. The purpose of the link is to connect the hook to the thesis. It links the hook and the thesis. So remember, this whole thing is going to become a single paragraph. So really, the only purpose of the link is to make it flow and connect from the hook to the thesis. Because recall I told you, the point of the hook is to be interesting. So it might be fairly different from the exact claim you're going to make or the argument that you're going to make. So it will take several sentences to make that flow from this kind of general idea to your specific argument. So that is the only purpose of the link, is to connect those two parts. I think it's the hardest part to write in the introduction. This is easy because you can kind of follow that formula and you've already planned your argument. This is easy because you can do research and find something interesting. The harder part is to make it all flow. So let me give you some advice if you're stuck writing your link of what you can do to make this flow as one cohesive paragraph. So the first step of the link, the first part of it, is you want to comment on your hook. So as a general rule of thumb when you're writing an essay, you never want your reader to have to draw his or her own conclusions, to look at that fact or statistic you've given and decide what he thinks about it. You want to tell your reader what conclusion to draw from that hook that you've given. So tell them how to feel about it. Tell them what's interesting about it. If you give them a number because you thought that number was surprisingly big, then tell them this is a surprising number. Tell them how to feel about the hook. Tell them why you chose it, what was interesting about it. What should they think about that fact or statistic? If you used a quote, interpret it for them. What does that quote mean? If you've used a definition, comment on the definition. Explain to them what's interesting about it and what you want them to think about that hook. That'll take a sentence or two. Then the second part, the second step of your link, is to introduce the debate. What I mean by that is, with thesis-driven essay writing, when you are writing about something wherein you're making a claim that you're trying to prove, then people could argue the other side of that. So think back to the example thesis statements that I gave you. One said technology makes people lazy. The other one said technology is beneficial. Those are two very differing viewpoints about the same topic. So what your link can do is explain that there are two sides to this argument and help your reader to conceptualize here's what the debate is, here's what the argument is, and then that will be followed by here's my side of it and here's what I believe to be true. So with this part of the link, you can have sentences that say things like, many people believe, and then you would go on to explain the opposing viewpoint. Then after that, you would have, however, followed by what you think, your particular argument. So what this does is places your argument in the greater conversation, in the greater debate. Helps your reader to know, here are the different sides of the issue. I've considered both sides and found my point to be the true one. So just to bring this all back full circle, an introduction is composed of a hook, a link, and a thesis. The hook catches the reader's attention. It makes them want to keep reading. The link then connects that hook and provides the transitions and so forth to get them to your particular argument, the plan for your essay, which is your thesis statement. They occur in this order in the paragraph. Your reader will read first your hook, then your link, then your thesis, but it's one paragraph, not a list. However, in terms of the writing process, I suggest you plan your thesis first, choose your hook second, and then write the link to connect the two in between. I wanted to show you just an example of what a finished introduction looks like and point out the three components that we talked about in the lecture, the hook, the link, and the thesis. So this is an introduction about technology. You can see this first sentence here is the hook I showed you during the lecture. It's a quote. The famous American architect Frank Lloyd Wright once said, "If it keeps up, man will atrophy all his limbs but the push-button finger."
Okay, then after the hook comes the link. Remember that the purpose of the link is to comment on the hook, provide some flow from the hook to ultimately the thesis. So to connect here, comment on the hook, and then to introduce the debate that will be addressed in your essay. So I have right expresses a sentiment that many people share. The idea that if society continues to rely on technology, all of our other capabilities will fade away. So I'm directly explaining to me as the writer what this hook means and how it relates to my ultimate topic about technology. And then I'm going to introduce the debate more. I kind of already have here, and that should flow into my thesis, which is my opinion and my assertion about the topic. So here's the second part of the link. However, this is overall a cynical view regarding the incredible potential of technology and the advantages it offers. And then from there we have the thesis. Technology, which is my topic, benefits people in many ways. That's my point, including their health, education, and communication. So those are my 3 reasons and will be my 3 body paragraphs. So in the end, I have one final introductory paragraph that contains the hook, the link, and the thesis.